Hey guys, this is Lala Legacy, and welcome back to another episode of Symphonic Rain. So I guess let's just jump right back in. In the end, despite my constant complaining, Asina was still in a good mood. By the way, Chris, if you don't have plans for tonight, how about having dinner together? Huh? I don't have plans. Sure thing. I always cooked for myself. I didn't have a part time job, so I was relying on my parents' allowance for day to day expenses. I didn't have to worry about tuition since the Fortel course was government sponsored. So I had a pretty easy life and wasn't too much of a burden on my parents. But I told myself not to squander money regardless of being in such a position. Where do you want to go? Asino was living in this town with his family, so he could afford some luxuries. I always refused to go to a place I couldn't afford. But Asino knew that, so he rarely invited me to such places. I found a nice, trattoria the other day. Cheap, of course. I see. In that case, sure. It's been a while since we've eaten out together, after all. A trattoria was aimed at the general public, so it wasn't that luxurious. I had the financial leeway to eat out at least once a month. My parents urged me to do so as well. Yeah, the place is in the old town. Shouldn't be too far from your house. You might know about it. Nah, I don't think I know, or I didn't know there was a trattoria near my house. I don't eat out much, so if I do, it's usually with you. But the old town, I don't have my mouse, so I don't know how to. Oh, there we go. But the old town, huh? Something wrong. It's just a little unusual. Most of the places you take me to are either in the new town or at best along the main street. An acquaintance of mine introduced me to this place. I've liked it ever since. The establishment Asino had taken me to had Copper written on the signboard and looked pretty stylish from the outside. This place is in unexpectedly good taste. My standards aren't as low as yours. It was about dinner time, so it was pretty crowded inside. Asino casually called out to a female attendant, who then guided us in while pleasantly conversing with him, making me wonder if he came here often. What will you have? Doesn't matter, I'll just pick something. You always say that, then there's no need to ask for the recommendations either, huh? I guess I'll have pasta. Pepperoncini for simplicity's sake. Ordering's like some kind of connoisseur. I guess I'll have to do that too. Never had it before here. It is said that with a simple pasta of red peppers, garlic, and olive oil, one could learn the quality of an establishment. Of course, I had no such intentions in mind, and just ordered it just because I liked it. But Asino, who knew about that, ridiculed me for it, and shrugged his shoulders. Hey, about your partner. Asino started as I brought a spoonful of the freshly served food to my mouth. As expected from a trattoria, to Asino's liking, the food was delicious. You won't partner with Tortinita. Why does everyone want me to partner with Torta? Because it just seems natural. Well, I know that, but... Besides, I'll have a problem if you don't partner with her. Why is that? I'm being threatened by Tortinita to cooperate with her. That's a lie. She doesn't say it up front, but I just know. Say whatever you want. Well, it doesn't really matter anyway. Exactly. What's the reason? The reason I won't partner with Torta? I couldn't even venture a guess. Are you worried about me as a friend, or perhaps... I'm just curious, obviously. Well, thanks. It's Ari. Arietta, huh? I've never met her, so I don't know, but I think Tortinita is a much better match for you. You wouldn't understand. Torta would be fine with it, but Ari wouldn't, huh? Well, it's your life, so do whatever you want. That's my intention. You're the one who brought it up. Because I'm worried. How about giving priority to your own worries? I am. Who said I was worried about you? Yeah, thanks anyway. I've gotten used to his frivolous behavior. He said it was mere curiosity, exactly because he was genuinely concerned. If he really was curious, or just curious, he was the kind of guy who would pretend to be sincerely worried instead. In the end, that might have been all he wanted to ask me. Since after that, we only talked about trivial things. After finishing our meal, we left the store and parted ways. I'm home. Oh, welcome home. You're late today. I ate out today. Oh, I see. Hi, annoying little fairy. The restaurant Asino had taken me to was pretty good, so I felt satisfied. But Asino's attitude felt a bit out of place. Was this really something to worry himself so much over? Did you go with Asino? Yeah. I let Forney in on everything that had happened today, as usual. And another uneventful day without much progress came to an end. And I guess that was the end of that day. Well, now it looks like we're in December, so... I finished morning practice, as well as my lunch, as usual. It seemed Torta had just finished eating as well. She was looking my way, as if curious to know how I would spend the day today. What? What are you going to do now? What I'm going to do, huh? I only just started, so I'm going to search at my own pace. Geez, make a little haste already. I already found a candidate of sorts. Really? If that's true, then okay. It's true, so don't worry about it too much. Okay, got it. I'm going home for today. Okay, see you tomorrow. Well then, what shall I do now? Alright, I guess I have to go to... the old school building. Looks like that's the only option that I have anyways, so let's go. Well, that was uneventful. I went around peeking into some of the empty lecture and practice rooms randomly. I recognized some of the faces of students who were coming and going, but I quickly realized that even though I knew people by face, it would not get me anywhere. My eyes would meet with some students. I would bow my head, then simply continue walking. Walking through the rain, I pondered whether I should give it up for today. I obviously disliked being soaked by the rain. Even so, deep inside, I could never come to hate the cool sensation of raindrops on my skin, nor the distorted scenery caused by rainwater seeping into my eyes. I didn't want to leave school without accomplishing anything, so I kept walking. Before I knew it, I found myself in a place not too familiar to me. A far cry from the, tumult? I don't even know that word. I don't think I've ever seen that word before. Inside the newer school buildings, this area was shrouded in silence. Away from the tree-lined road that connected the school buildings with the front gate, a narrow path lay amidst densely grown trees, leading to the old school building. Piova Music Institute, which has turned out many talented musicians since ancient times, gradually earned its reputation. The number of students grew proportionately, and it came time to expand facilities when this original building had become too confined. As a result, the current two newer school buildings, plus the concert hall, were constructed, thanks to the support from the government and the nobility. The government wanted to share this unique and magnificent culture with the world. I figured the nobility were in it so that they could boast about being fundamental to such a culture. Nowadays, there were a lot of aristocrat children at the school. The original building was never demolished, but left standing for the students to use. Even so, the only activity this building saw were periodic cleanings and piano tunings by students as part of their practice routines, so it could hardly be considered. Ah! Ah! No! That is. No! Fuck, I messed up because I don't have a fucking mouse right now. Okay, finally, I'm back to where I was. So, even so, the only activity this building saw were periodic cleanings and piano tunings by students as part of their practice routines. So, it could hardly be considered actively used. I think it was when Asino and I came here for fun soon after we had come to the school. He had told me then that students of noble origin in particular would not set foot in here. I never had a reason to come here after that, so I didn't know much else about this place. I decided to take a look around, out of a sort of nostalgic curiosity perhaps. Despite being free for use, students normally didn't come here. It was probably limited to the occasional poet or someone who just wanted to spend some time in quiet. The sound of a voice was mingling with the rain faintly reached my ears. The voice had belonged to a student. It was a common occurrence, really, but with my sudden spark of interest in the building, combined with the fact that I was in dire need of a vocalist partner, I couldn't help but take a sneak peek. The building was deathly silent, save for the voice, so it was easy to trace its source. The door was ajar, a ray of light accompanied by a song spilled out from it. The girl was singing, indulging herself in the sound of her voice overflowing the classroom, unbeknownst to anyone. I wasn't really an expert on vocal music, but there was something very captivating about her voice. No matter what tomorrow brings, I couldn't tear my eyes off this girl, singing all by herself without relying on any sort of musical accompaniment. My fingers started moving on their own as though playing a keyboard, as I imagined the sound of her voice mingling with my foretell in my head. By the time she had finished singing, most of the phrases were in my head, and I felt I could play it whenever I wanted. Although the piece itself wasn't very complicated, the simple melody was beautiful and accentuated the girl's voice very well. I figured the tune was composed with lyrics in mind, so a foretell could accompany it in the background. I reclined against the door, watching the girl as I let my train of thoughts run. She was about to start singing again when she suddenly turned around and looked my way. "Who is it?" I'm sorry." I took it she was startled by her sudden visitor, as her body stiffened and she stood as if nailed to the ground. "Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's just that the door was open. Sorry." Despite my apology for peeping in on her, it didn't seem like I was going to get any reaction. I did feel it was inappropriate to sneak a peek at her in such a way, but considering she was singing in a place people could pass by at any time, coupled with the fact that the door was ajar, I felt I wasn't entirely at fault. "Is something the matter?" The girl looked a bit frightened. To top it off, she kept giving me these accusatory glances. I began feeling like I'd done something terrible to her. Moving away from the door, I had intended to leave her be, but suddenly, as if she'd been waiting for me to move, the girl grabbed her bag and attempted to escape through the gap. Excuse me!" Ugh. Oh God, did they crash into each other? She had tried to run off with her eyes cast downward to avoid eye contact, but ended up colliding with me. Textbooks and scores had fallen out of her open bag and were scattered about. In the middle of that scene sat the girl, fallen smack on her behind. Aw, she's really cute, though. Are you okay? Oh, I was sort of afraid she might have hurt herself. It wasn't really my fault, but I did have my share in the cause. Want me to lend you a hand? However, the girl was just silently glancing upwards at me. Tears even began welling up in her eyes. I heard you singing by chance, so I just wanted to see for a bit, I said in a gentle tone of voice, then picked up the scores scattered on the floor and held them out to her. If I was bothering you, I'll be out of here in a minute. Here you go. The girl just stared at the scores and made no attempt to take them from me. Your scores? I considered leaving them at her feet and just walking away, but I felt that would be a little bit too cold-hearted. I'll leave them here, okay? I kind of wanted to ask her about the song, but with her acting like this, I probably wouldn't get a proper answer. It was probably best to just leave her be after all. Thank you. At long last, the girl nervously accepted the scores I was holding out to her with her small white hands. They were trembling slightly. Please, don't worry about it. It was my fault for entering unannounced. Was it really just surprise that caused her to act like this? There might have been an additional cause. However, it didn't seem like I could inquire her about that. It appeared in the girl's best interest for me to just leave her be. I am sorry for listening in on you without permission, but you really are a good singer. Well then, if you'll excuse me. As the girl stood up and timidly wiped the dust from her clothes, I gave her a light bow and went for the door. I turned around to face the voice behind me. The girl was still looking downward, averting my gaze, but she seemed to be attempting to speak. Since this didn't go anywhere, I attempted to stimulate her. Is something the matter? Sorry for making you hear such a silly song, the girl said with averted eyes, as though making some kind of excuse. Silly? I don't think it was silly at all. When I said that you were a good singer, it wasn't intended as flattery. I'm sorry. The girl hung her head and apologized again. There really was nothing that would warrant an apology here. What are you so sorry about? She went silent again. Hey, look, it's me. How was I supposed to get through to her? Since she spoke up to me, it would seem she didn't want me to leave immediately. There probably wasn't anything else she would need to talk to me about, but her behavior sparked something inside me. While she didn't really resemble her, it made me think of Arietta when she was little. At the time, she was belittling herself for being the only one of us without musical talent, and she would always apologize, thinking that it was her fault. Granted, this was a long time ago, and by now, Ari had found things that she could be confident about. In any case, with the girl acting like this, I just couldn't leave her alone anymore. I understood from the color of her ribbon that she was a freshman, so I decided to speak to her more casually. Anyway, why are you practicing in a place like this? Why not use a practice room in the main building? I'm not really fond of crowds. I see. Since it's quiet here, it's the perfect place for you. She still looked a bit stiff, but I was glad she at least seemed able to answer normally now. Are you... I'm sorry, it's nothing. A wave of silence. It appeared to be a habit of hers to apologize at the drop of a hat. Me! No need to apologize that much. What's up? Why are you here? For no reason. I just happened to pass by and heard you singing. Is that so? At the very least, I didn't come to this place with the laudable intent of practicing. Haha. I see. I meant it as a joke, but that seemed to have flown right past her. In fact, I began to wonder whether or not she was even listening to me in the first place. You should make sure that the door is closed from now on. There might be more people like me that get captivated by your voice and barge in. I jokingly left her some advice and attempted to leave when I heard her apologetic voice from behind me once again. Yes, I will be careful, sorry. Like I said, stop apologizing. Yes. But that is all the time that I have for this episode, guys. So, if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe. By subscribing, you're becoming part of a legacy. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!